Media practitioners in the Northwest region have been challenged to be promoters of peace during this crisis period in propagating convincing messages about the safety of children in and out of schools to ensure a hitch-free takeoff of the 2018-2019 school year. Plus, Jean-Jacques Ekindi, though not part of the race to a 2D, is calling on the aspirants for the 2018 presidential poll to outline concrete proposals to solve the ongoing socio-political upheavals rocking the country, as well as creating a coalition to unseat the incumbents, could be of great help at this point in time. Those are my lead stories, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and thanks for joining me. I am Henry Wana at the anchor in Douala. Jean-Jacques Ekindi has challenged candidates for the 2018 presidential elections to outline concrete proposals to solve the current challenges in the country. He was speaking at a press conference in Douala today. Peter Sose reports.
Jean-Jacques Ekindi fails to run for the October 7 presidential elections, months after he declared his intention to go in for the nation's top job. Addressing pressmen in Douala Monday, the Lion Chaser reveals that conditions for his candidature were not met.
You need to campaign. You need to be ready. You need to build teams, work everywhere. And this, to do that, you can't do it alone. You must build a team. And each team member must know what he has to do. And when your team has a failure somewhere, you must make a decision. We have made ours. This is what.
Though not part of the race, the leader of the progressist movement indicates that his party will nonetheless support any of the candidates with a concrete program for Cameroonians. The said candidate, he stressed, must give a thorough appraisal of the present state of the country and how his political agenda will tackle the Anglophone crisis, end the Boko Haram insurgency, revive the country's limping economy, and wipe out corruption. Quizzed on the basis of an opposition coalition against incumbent Paul Biya, Ekindi says the terms must be solid.
When you build, either you have political agreements or you have electoral agreements. The electoral agreements end at the end of the elections. This is what you can see in systems where you have two turns.
Jean-Jacques Ekindi maintains that sovereignty belongs to the people and all presidential aspirants must bear that in mind in order to concurrently face upcoming challenges when they hold office.
Muna of the Popular Front for Development Party is one of those making their debut for the 2018 presidential elections in Cameroon. Barrister at law by profession, what more should Cameroonians know about their presidential aspirant is the content of this report by John Paul Sama.
Akere Tabeng Muna, born August 1952 in Gembo in the northwest region of Cameroon, attended primary and secondary school in the country before moving to the United States for further studies at American University of Washington, D.C. After obtaining his bachelor's degree, Akere moved to England where he joined the Honorable Society of Lincoln's Inn. He was called to the Bar of England and Wales in 1978. That same year, he returned to Cameroon and practiced as a lawyer. Since then, Akere Muna has held various positions in and outside Cameroon, focused on combating corruption and promoting good governance. The celebrated lawyer founded the Cameroon chapter of the anti-corruption watchdog Transparency International in 2000 and was later elected to the board of directors of Transparency International and the chair of the board of directors of that same institution for a 3-year term in 2005. Muna, in his rich CV, can also boast of heading commissions like the Pan-African Lawyers Union (PALU), and in September 2008, he was unanimously elected president of the Economic, Social and Cultural Council (ECOSOC), a position he held until 2014. The 66-year-old announced his candidacy in 2017 and will be running for the presidential elections under the banner of the Popular Front for Development. He will be looking to become president of Cameroon at his first try. Akere Muna was born in one of the most prominent families in Cameroon. His father, Solomon Tandem Muna, was Prime Minister of West Cameroon and subsequently the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Cameroon. He then became president of the National Assembly until his retirement in 1987.
This communique from Elections Cameroon reads thus: the Director General of Elections Cameroon invites all the candidates or their representative whose party is retained to take part in the October 7, 2018 presidential election to contact the Cameroon News and Publishing Corporation (SOPECA) without delay to confirm the color, emblem, and the chosen title for the printing of their ballot papers and campaign ballot. It is signed by Dr. Esose Eric on behalf of Elections Cameroon. Professor Maurice Kamto, leader of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, CRM, has castigated government poor handling of the video showcasing the killing of women and children by the army, which went viral on the social media a few weeks ago. The presidential aspirant wants the investigations to go deeper in order to avoid such an embarrassing situation from Cameroon in the future. Peter Sose reports.
The Cameroon Renaissance Movement has rejected claims that it was behind a highly contentious video which showed the gruesome murder of some women and their babies by armed security officers. This after the Minister of Communication backpedals by acknowledging the act was carried out by Cameroonian soldiers. Professor Maurice Kamto, leader of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, says the handling of the situation by the government spokesperson was poor, and the time has come for the army and the state to take their responsibility. Time has come for the army to dissociate itself from such acts, and the state too must wash its image because Cameroon is concerned. As international pressure mounts on government to sanction the culprits, Kamto wants the investigation to be widened. The Minister of Defense must explain what happened. We know that in other countries, he ought to have been sacked, and he must stop giving us the impression that they are hiding such incidents. While maintaining that the army has been professional, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement is proposing that a commission of inquiry be set up to bring other hidden cases to light.
Back to one of our lead stories, media practitioners in the Northwest region have been urged to propagate convincing stories about the safety of children in and out of schools and not the importance of education in their different media outlets. The call was made recently by the Northwest Regional Delegation for Communication during a preparatory meeting to ensure an effective 2018-2019 back to school in the Northwest region. Lobembe reports from Bamenda.
The security of people and students seems to be one of the major challenges, instilling fear and mixed feelings in some parents who might have been willing to send their children to school in September for the 2018-2019 academic year. This was disclosed during a preparatory meeting towards effective back to school in the Northwest region, organized by the Regional Delegation of Communication and attended by media practitioners.
What are the words that parents need to be told to guarantee the security and safety of their children? There are no other two people to take care of that. The forces of law and order have always been around. But recently, the relationship and the ideology of what people have about people of the military is not a positive one.
The preparatory meeting was chaired by the Northwest Regional Delegate for Communication, Louis-Marie Beignet.
For school to resume without problems, smoothly, all of you know that there must be security. We have the opportunity to receive the patron of the security. He is here to come and exchange with you people, to talk to you, to dialogue with you people, because our security is our security is in their hands.
Present during the meeting was the commander of the 5th Military Region, General Ara Robinson.
We are not perfect in what we do as uniform people. Sometimes we exceed. I came here to be able to highlight you people in certain aspects you don't understand. I can answer some questions.
The effects of the ongoing socio-political crisis in the Northwest region, and especially the attacks on students and school authorities and even some institutions, has left many parents with mixed feelings and with questions like, if I send my child to school, how am I sure that his or her security is guaranteed in and out of school?
Wamane Mbele is the newly appointed government delegate to the Betua Urban Council. The information is contained in a presidential decree published this August 13. He replaces Jorene Samba, who since 2015 has been serving the presidency of the Republic as councillor. In the town of Douala, having coins, especially 100 francs, is now becoming a problem, obstructing the day-to-day activities of persons, especially workers, bike riders, taxi drivers, and even traders. What reasons account for the scarcity of coins nowadays in the economic capital? Darlene Fejo went finding and brought back this report.
Ça nous cause trop de problèmes. Quand on prend les clients, beaucoup ont 500 000 francs.
Challenges faced by motorbike riders, taxi drivers and passengers in the economic capital daily. The cause, scarcity of coins observed in the city for the past months, with the 100 francs coin topping the list.
Donc pour trouver 100 francs, on a les problèmes, les querelles avec les clients.
The situation is even catastrophic during rush hours, early in the morning when inhabitants are speeding to their various activities, and during closing hours.
When we have no change or coins in the mornings, while heading to work, it creates conflict with bike riders.
To get a bike or taxi, one must hold the exact amount or arm himself with patience till luck smiles on him. Many Douala city dwellers attribute these money change problems to a number of Chinese activities operating in the country. Games which, according to them, are played exclusively with coins and later transported out of the country. Faced with this persistent difficulty, some riders and drivers have devised ways to rise above the situation. While some pay to have coins to meet demands, others choose to charge higher fee to their passengers.
Over 2 million Muslims from different races and countries around the world shall converge on Mecca, Saudi Arabia, as from August 19, 2018, for a 5-day pilgrimage. What is the Hajj pilgrimage, and what is the significance of it to the lives of pilgrims? Darlene Fejo once more.
About 2 million Muslims from around the world will embark on a 5-day Hajj pilgrimage on Sunday, the 19th of August 2018. The Hajj, fifth pillar of Islam, is a once-in-a-lifetime obligation for every Muslim. The 5-day pilgrimage in the holy city of Mecca in Saudi Arabia consists of several ceremonies meant to deepen the faith of fidèles.
Il y a 2 lieux saints de l'islam à la Mecque.
There are 2 holy places in Mecca. Cameroonian pilgrims begin their Hajj journey in Medina, where they visit historical sites of Islam and the Mosque of the Prophet. Later, they move to the holy site of Mecca, where there is what is called Kaaba, the holy temple.
The Hajj, which brings together Muslims from diverse countries and races to congregate in Mecca during the last month of the Muslim lunar calendar, should be observed with strict rules and commitments.
Le Hajj, le pèlerinage à la Mecque, nécessite beaucoup de rites. Donc, il y a eu des séances de formation. Il y a l'association La Camwa et d'autres associations qui ont eu à former les pèlerins sur le plan physique et même sur le plan spirituel, pour que ces pèlerins puissent bien accomplir leur rite de Hajj.
It is believed that this period is a chance to wipe out past sins and the start of a new life free of sin. For a successful 2018 Hajj for Cameroonian Muslims, government has taken some measures to ease their journey to the holy city of Mecca. First, the reduction in the cost of flight tickets and donation of traveling bags to facilitate the identification of their luggages.
Ce geste est très significatif pour la communauté musulmane nationale du Cameroun.
This gesture is symbolic to the entire Muslim community in the country. This donation to our pilgrims heading to Mecca is yet an additional motivation to pray for God's intervention in solving the problems in the country. These pilgrims will travel with blessings and also return with abundant blessings.
Quand-même, vous savez qu'il y a beaucoup de problèmes. Ces pèlerins vont partir avec ces bénédictions et vont nous ramener aussi des bénédictions.
Though the Hajj is compulsory to all Muslims, those who cannot go on pilgrimage for physical or financial constraints are excused from the obligation.
Let's now get news out of Cameroon with the VOA.
The Caspian Sea straddles Europe and Asia and is flanked by 5 nations: Azerbaijan, Iran, Kazakhstan, Russia, and Turkmenistan. The sea contains large volumes of oil and natural gas reserves, both in offshore deposits and in onshore fields in the immediate region. Much of the offshore reserves has not been tapped because of disputes on the demarcation of maritime borders since the fall of the Soviet Union. On Sunday, the 5 countries signed a deal which they say is a step in that direction. Russian President Vladimir Putin called the agreement an epochal event.
Today was a very important event for all our states. A convention on the legal status of the Caspian Sea was signed. It is an international treaty that contains a detailed and comprehensive set of rules and obligations on the use and preservation of our common heritage, the Caspian Sea.
Iranian President Hassan Rouhani listed some of the rules.
دریای خزر متعلق به کشورهای ساحلی آن است و هر نوع احداث و پایگاه
The Caspian Sea belongs to the Caspian states. The construction of military bases and making them available to foreign countries, the navigation of military ships, aircraft carriers, and submarines, the overflight of warplanes, and even the transportation of cargo belonging to other nations are prohibited.
The issue of dividing the oil-rich seabed between the 5 countries remains subject to further negotiations, but for now at least the signatories plan peaceful cooperation.
This convention is kind of a constitution of the Caspian Sea. It is designed to resolve all problems relating to the rights and obligations of the riparian countries and will guarantee the security, stability, and prosperity of the region as a whole.
Meanwhile, leaders of the Caspian states made various trade and transportation agreements to benefit their economies. Russian and Iranian presidents met separately to discuss bilateral issues, including their role in Syria and the future of Tehran's nuclear deal with world powers following the U.S. withdrawal.
Iran, Russia, and other countries will continue cooperation within the framework of the nuclear deal.
Both Iran and Russia are bracing for the effect of renewed U.S. sanctions. Zlatica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
Let's now talk sports football before we wrap up this newscast. Cameroon has picked up her participation ticket to attend the Under-17 African Cup of Nations to be staged in Tanzania next year, thanks to a 3-1 victory of the Baby Lions over Congo during the grand finale of the UNIFAC tournament played over the weekend in Equatorial Guinea. They now join Angola and host Tanzania for the continental contest. John Paul Sama reports.
The Under-17 Lions of Cameroon have picked up a ticket to the 2019 Under-17 Cup of Nations built for Tanzania to run from the 12th to the 26th of May 2019. The Baby Lions edged Congo by 3-1 in the final in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, thanks to goals from Ben Hamat, Dongo, Aliou Mubarak and an own goal from Peya to seal a perfect tournament for the boys of Coach Thomas Libi. This triumph thus crowns them champions of the Central African Zone and the sole proprietors of the lone qualification ticket destined for UNIFAC teams. Unlike the other continental competitions, where qualification is obtained through a mixed draw, the Under-17 Cup of Nations take the format of zonal qualifications with 6 zones across Africa and a host of countries for each zone. As of now, only Tanzania, the host, and Cameroon from the Central African Zone, UNIFAC, as well as Angola from the Southern African Federation, COSAFA, have qualified for the 2019 Soccer Jamboree. One other team will join Tanzania from the Central African Zone, CECAFA. The North African Federation, UNAF, will have 1 spot as well as the West African Zone B, WAFU. On the contrary, the West African Zone A will have 2 representatives because of the fact that the defending 2017 champions Mali are found in that pool. At the end of the qualification rounds, 8 teams will pick up the right to rumble for the title of Under-17 African champions. Since its baptism from the African Under-17 Championship to the Under-17 African Cup of Nations in 1995, Cameroon have won the competition once in 2003 and finished 4th in 1991, with the rest of their participation ending in the group stages. Only Ghana, Nigeria, Mali and Gambia have won it 2 times.
That report by John Paul Sama brings us to the end of today's English Primetime Newscast on Spectrum Television. I shall see you again, God willing, tomorrow. Good night.